tongue on it. No, that one. Thomas Mann. Hello. Oh no, what happened? Hello and welcome to my perfect weekend in Davos.
Skiing is the first order of the day.
How are you?
Nice
to meet you. Welcome here in Davos.
Thank you.
So
All right,
proud.
let's go skiing.
My instructor Beat Descher introduces me to the Parsen ski region, the largest in Davos. The quickest way to the top is with the mountain train, which zips through the landscape. Breathtaking views accompany us on the way up.
Amazing. Okay, so we're in Parsen. What's special about it?
Especially the Parsen, the slopes, they are so wide, so great. And the snow is so good. And the mountain, you see one mountain over there, the Dinsenhochholz. It looks like the Matterhorn.
It does look like the Matterhorn. All right, at what altitude are we?
We are here in 2,600. The top is 2,840.
Right.
And the longest run from here, one of the longest in the Alps, from 2,800 you ski down to Küblis, that's 800 meters.
Wow, so we're gonna ski down
2,000 meters.
2,000 meters.
2,000 meters you ski down and it's about 12 kilometers.
All right, well, we've got a lot of work before us. Let's go.
Let's go to Küblis, let's go.
Woo!
Come on.
All right.
Oh.
And we're off.
Like dancing down the mountain.
Davos has a local population of about 11,000, but that number swells immensely when nearly 3,000 people flock here for the World Economic Forum.
That was good. Wow.
That was fun. How do you feel about the most powerful economic leaders descending on Davos once a year?
For us, for local people, they really like this. Lots of traffic, this has to be. If it's no traffic, then it's boring. And all the important people around the world, they can talk each other. And that's so important for the global system.
We continue on the 12-kilometer run, which we pretty much have all to ourselves. For all ski enthusiasts, skiing in the Parsen Resort is my activity tip for a perfect weekend in Davos.
First run, yay! I'm certainly glad to finish that in one piece.
We are the best team on the mountain. Hey!
Time now for some lunch at a mountain resort where they specialize in platters that are typical for Davos.
That's good. That's for us. Cheers.
Cheers. I associate Switzerland with fondue, but this is definitely not fondue. So what do we have here?
That's a Bündner Plättli. And
Bündner Plättli.
Yes, one of the famous dry meat in Switzerland. And the cheese that has from the cows in the summer, they grazing here in this level.
This is my culinary tip for a perfect weekend in Davos, a Bündner Plättli.
Next up, we make our way to a very unique hotel where the atmosphere is quite chilly.
This is called an Igloo Village, but you don't really see much because everything is pretty much built and buried under all this snow.
This hotel only exists throughout the winter season with a new theme each year. This time, Italy is in the spotlight.
It's freezing in here, but this is cool. Before we do an après-ski drink, I want to check out some of the rooms. This is the Venice room. Look at that. We have a gondola awaiting us. Oh my goodness, look at this. That is amazing. Oh. And a frozen rose. This is a nice detail. For anyone who's curious, which I was, what do you do if you have to use the bathroom? Well, they have bathrooms in here. Come on. Look at that. Here we can wash our hands. Not sure how this works. Like you have to take a hairdryer, melt some of the snow to get water. And here's another room. You know what this is? This is a jacuzzi. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'd like to jump in that right now. There's also a kitchen here. It's freezing. So I'm curious if it's necessary to have a refrigerator. Probably not.
Hello, here's your Glühwein.
Oh, a nice hot drink in a very cool hotel. And a perfect way to end day one in Davos. Viva, as they say here in Graubünden.
And this is my special tip for a perfect weekend.
Today I'm leaving the skis behind and I'm going to go on a small discovery tour of Davos.
The town thrives from tourism generated by mountain sports, but not long ago, Davos was the place to come for the treatment of tuberculosis. The Wald Hotel Davos was a well-known sanatorium until 1957.
Back in the day when patients used to come to Davos for rehabilitation, they would walk up and down the street for fresh air. Well, today, this is the main street, or the promenade, which cuts through town and has lots of shops and hotels.
And the Congress Hall, where the World Economic Forum takes place. Security measures are being put in place all over.
As you can see, Davos is in the midst of preparations for the World Economic Forum when many famous names are going to descend on this town. But over 100 years ago, one famous painter left his mark here.
And that was Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, who brought expressionism to Davos. I met up with museum director Carla Burani for some more background information on the artist.
Why did he come here in the first place?
He was very ill, he was depressive, and he was searching for a new life in the mountains, very close to the nature.
And how did the people living here accept his work? And what did they think of him?
They were fascinated from Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, but they don't understand him really. So the collectors understand him, but he was a bit exotic for the Alpine farmers, I would say.
The Kirchner Museum is my culture tip for a perfect weekend in Davos. Later on in the afternoon, I make my way to the Schatzalp Hotel, which also once served as a rehabilitation center for tuberculosis. Today, it's an exclusive hotel. I met up with director Paolo Bernardo to talk about the history of this place.
Hi, Megan. Paolo. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Well, here we are sitting on the terrace of this Schatzalp Hotel. But Paolo, this wasn't always a hotel. This building has quite a history.
True. It was one of the most luxury hotel or sanatoriums in Europe until 1953.
And one author in particular helped make this place famous. That's Thomas Mann. He wrote about the Schatzalp in his book, The Magic Mountain. We have the passage here where it says, "Our sanatorium is higher up than the village as you see, 50 meters higher. The highest of the sanatoriums is the Schatzalp." Would you agree that he helped boost the reputation of this place?
I think it helped a lot, the town and, of course, this building and Schatzalp to stay like it is and keep the history alive. So it's just a jump back in time when you enter these places here.
The hotel is also famous for its walnut cake, which rounds off my excursion tip for a perfect weekend.
And finally, a must-do activity on a visit to Davos is sled riding. And you can do it from up here at the Schatzalp. It's actually one of the only ways you can get down. There is, of course, the train, but I'm going to go down to the valley, about a 2-kilometer run on my sled. Here we go.
At this rate, it's probably going to take me a while to get down.
Sure how to steer this thing.
Sledding down is actually more dangerous than it seems, but it is definitely worth the fun.
Woo! And this wraps up my perfect weekend in Davos, but join me again as I explore more exciting European destinations. Until then, it's happy travels. Woo!